let's be real about.
Sharky,
your sound just went out, Cap.
your
Say that
sound
one more
literally
time.
cut out.
Let's be real about what, bro?
Silence.
Silence.
That's why
Y'all remember Silent Library, dog? That joke was lit.
y'all hear me now?
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect timing. Well, y'all know what it's about. Y'all see the title. What it do?
What's happening?
Yeah, man. You
Yes,
want me to
y'all
go
see-
ahead and get started?
We got a guest on, man. We got to at least acknowledge.
No.
I know he's been on before.
Man, just rude.
Welcome,
Right.
back.
I know
Jeez.
he's been on before.
I mean,
We finally get somebody else from Ohio. Now he don't even want them to be on the podcast. That's tough, bro.
Like what happened is, you pull up somebody's crib. At first, you get treated like a king. Second of all, you hear about like, "I'll make yourself." That's how shit is.
That's how
You better know where the
That's
place
it.
of force is
Hey,
at.
that's how I be though. After
Right.
the first
bro.
time, he's like, all
Go
right,
ahead,
bro,
bro.
here, just go
Go
ahead.
ahead, bro.
Right, look, he already know the Wi-Fi passcode. Don't ask
Yeah.
him.
Did I say something wrong?
And auto connect.
Oh,
You
wow.
good.
That's not auto connect.
What's
I
up,
don't
everybody?
What it do, Ryan?
What up, Ryan?
But yeah, man, we got Austen back on again, man. How you doing, my guy?
Doing good, man. It's feel good to be back on the show. I know it's been a while. We said 2 years. 2 years.
Right.
Whew. Which I've been going
Right.
strong for them 2 years too, though. So it's gonna be a good little show here.
Right. Like, we had you on when COVID first started. Literally. That was like May or June that year. So like, wow. So man, glad to have you back. Glad to announce our sponsorship that we have with the Ref brand, man. So we
Yes,
got this
sir.
sponsorship
Yes,
with
sir.
Ref. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Talk-
We just
talk a little bit more about
put pen to paper on a new sponsorship with LBR here, and I think it's going to be something really special. We both can feed off of each other in a few different markets, so you guys are going to see us do a lot of different things. So stay tuned for what we got in store for you guys.
For sure. But as y'all always know, Sheedy and Skylar are back, and Sheedy always gets us with the real talk topics.
Yeah, man. And before I begin our real talk topic for this week, man, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention what's actually going on in the world as well, man. So I'm gonna just say peace for now, because without that peace, my gas prices is going up, and I need somebody to do something about that. But nonetheless, the real talk segment is about, and I'm gonna start with the guy that actually does represent the University of Michigan, Mr. Austen, here in a moment. But there was an incident that happened over this past week with Juwan Howard, and being a coach myself, he was frustrated. Juwan Howard was frustrated with the coach from Wisconsin for calling a timeout with less than a minute to go. Actually, it was less than 15 seconds left to go, because the players of Wisconsin could not get the ball past, half court. Mind you, Juwan Howard was up. It was down, 14, 15 points, and still pressing at the time. And so with that being said, being a coach, I mean, I understand, you want to get your players good reps, Juwan, and I understand the Wisconsin coach who also wanted to get his backup players some reps as well. However, what insinuated afterwards was Juwan Howard getting touched, right, before shaking hands, and then that triggers anyone. And then he put his hands on not the actual head coach, but the assistant head coach of Wisconsin. All parties have apologized since then. There's been fines levied along with suspensions. Worthy or not worthy, we can all discuss that. I did put in the chat, there's the order of Austen, Sharky, Skylar, Toop, and then Trevor. Just want to hear your guys' thoughts about that happening in college sports, or just Juwan Howard in general. Starting with you, Austen.
I thought it was a dicey situation, really, because just the way that it transpired, because he called the timeout, and then normally, you know what I'm saying, the coaches, they back up a little bit from each other, or they are, you know what I'm saying, he kind of like walked towards him, and then he started, putting his hands out. So it was already a different situation for me but um, it really was. It felt uncomfortable for me just to watch as a person. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be. The coach's bubble is. I thought that was something that was legit, but it didn't seem to get respected in that moment. And then the suspension it seemed to really come down on the person who retaliated, not the person who initiated.
Shark is on you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right, my bad. Yeah, the reason the episode's called "It's Breed by Punches" is because the definition of a punch was not what Juwan Howard did at all. Like my guy, 200 AFC South, Mike Patton said, guard put his hands on him and his assistant coach. Both of them should have been suspended for at least, really, I say more than a game. I think Juwan Howard got the rest of the season. So that's 4 or 5 games, however many games they had left before the conference tournament. So 5. They should have got at least 2, right? They should have got something because they initiated everything. So, man, we all know what should have went down. I'm just glad Juwan Howard will get a chance to come back and actually coach this season. I'm glad he didn't actually punch him. If he actually did punch him, he might have not be coaching anymore in that case. But because it wasn't an actual punch, although they called it a punch, that did actually help him some. But just got to know how to calm down in situations. But like you said, when you go through you know what? They didn't get rid of that whole lining up and shaking hands. That still don't make sense to me in college. Like that's so like I guess it's still high school-ish, middle school-ish. Like, come on, like
we're not going to get into everything that's wrong with men's college basketball. Let's just keep it.
Well, this pertains to that. I mean, because they had to get in line and shake hands. That's how everything escalated. Like that stuff they don't have to do that. This probably don't ever happen. So they do need to get rid of that. But hey, it is what it is now. He will be coming back for the conference tournament. So let's get it.
Yeah, for sure. I think to what Austen and Sharkey said, I agree wholeheartedly. You would like to see the people that actually initiated this entire thing that happened. You would like to see them get more than one just game. But at the end of the day, I think I'm just going to be real and say it. Like at the end of the day, Juwan Howard shouldn't have let himself to get to that particular point. Outside of a racial slur, he shouldn't have let himself get to that particular point. So I actually agree with the suspension. In my opinion, slapping somebody, because I think he slapped the man, and slapping somebody is just about as disrespectful, probably even more disrespectful than punching somebody if you want to be 100 about it. But at the end of the day, I just wish that he wouldn't have let himself get there. I think honestly, it's embarrassing. If I was an alum, it would be embarrassing if I was a player that's playing for him. It's embarrassing if I'm a parent of my son that's playing with him or playing for him. So I just think that at the end of the day, he has to carry himself in a different manner. It's the same thing that I said with Penny Hardaway. At the end of the day, like wrong was wrong, right? So you have to own up for what you did and pay the consequences for it.
I'm happy that the Not Cool at All Association actually just looked at what was in front of them, right? Like I watched the video like 10 times. You can clearly see Juwan Howard with his mask saying something and just literally wanting to walk by the Indiana coach. So if you look at it, like go rewatch it with me saying this, and like he literally just wanted to walk by, but instead, coach put his hands on him. Hey, don't do that. You can immediately say, hey, you keep talking smack, whatever you're doing, don't touch me, don't talk smack. They kept on touching him. They kept on talking smack. And what happened is what happened. You know what I'm saying? And Juwan Howard got 5 games of it. No, it was not a punch. It was not a punch. He did not intend to hurt him, but he did and say, hey, leave me the hell alone. Get away from me because you already done pissed me off. Like what you just did was some bull. And let's call a spade a spade. It was some bull. It was unsportsmanlike. And Juwan was willing to take the high route. Like I'm telling you, don't watch the video. He was literally getting ready to walk by him. You want the smoke and you got it. And then Juwan Howard got 5 games. Shout out to the Not Cool at All Associated because they definitely could have went the wrong way. He definitely could have been suspended the rest of the league without the playoffs. But 5 games is cool. Get to come back and do his thing. So salute to the NCAA. I can't believe the words that are coming out of my mouth right now, but salute to the NCAA. Oh,
No, just because they get one decision right doesn't mean they get a shout out. I'm sorry to tell you that,
Yeah,
brother.
they
okay.
they get golf
No,
clap.
Two want to get flowers when it's time to get flowers. That's what they want to do.
They don't get
No.
flowers. They get a golf clap. It's just like
Right.
when your team don't score a touchdown and they kick a field goal to get 3, they get a golf clap. It's like, okay, thank you very much. Let's move on.
It's a step in the right direction, man. I want to applaud steps in the right directions, bro. You know what I'm saying? But that was not a punch.
Yeah, that wasn't a punch, man. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why we need diversity in the workplace and diversity in all phases of life. Because this is basically a cultural difference. To Tuke's point and pretty much everyone else's point, wrong is wrong. We're not going to excuse Juwan Howard for his behavior, but the 6 of us on this podcast knows in that situation, you're not finna put your hands on me. I don't care who you are, what you come from, what race you are. I don't care. You don't just put your hands on me like that in that form of fashion, like on the chest, because we're taking it like you're trying to. We taking it as a threat. And all of us growing up, if that's a threat, we got to be put in position to defend ourselves. So, yeah, I agree. I get it. He was upset at the timeout. He just wanted to get things over. He wanted to get his reps up. Wanted to, just pretty much get out of there. You see in the video, he's trying to walk away and just kind of just get out of there. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Again, wrong is wrong. Juwan Howard got the suspension that I felt that was warranted at least the rest of the regular season, because I do think that he at least deserves an opportunity to coach in the conference tournament and possibly the NCAA tournament. And to Ryan's point in the comments, is exactly right. Southside Chicago came right at him soon. Oh boy, put his hand on his chest. Again, it's another one of those things. It's a cultural difference, but it is what it is. So, of course, we expect Juwan Howard to carry himself in the matter of which is required. But I can't blame him for the way they reacted based on what transpired.
Yeah. And to add on to what everyone said, and try to close the segment out, when you start to be members of athletic association, so to speak, or whatever it may be, when you put on that Michigan jersey, I hate to say that, y'all know where I'm from. When you put on that Michigan jersey or that Memphis jersey, right, so to speak, or you're coaching those teams, all eyes are on you, even if it's not a national spotlight, and you have to carry yourself a certain way. All of us do. And unfortunately, those of us of color have to carry ourselves even an extra step higher than our other counterparts. We remember Bob Knight for being a great coach, but very rarely do we talk about how he threw a chair or talk to his players and stuff like that. And I hope that Juwan Howard does not get a rhetoric that is said about him about punching, slap. What the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap to that guy, to the assistant coach, because it was really the actual coach that was trying to do that. I also agree that NCAA should look at different rules in regards to sportsmanship, but I also understand they're trying to continue to build sportsmanship within the college ranks. It is a high school thing. I make sure my kids, grow up as well to shake their hands, so to speak. But at the end of the day, if you watched the Lakers and Clippers last night, did nobody line up after the game? If you watch any other game in the NBA, no one's lining up after the game. And so eventually, I think there might be a change. But at the end of the day, Juwan Howard was disrespected by a man putting his hands on him. And people of color know, you put your hands on me, it's going to be something happening, right? It's going to be some furniture moving, so to speak. But we cannot continue to, hopefully we do not disrespect Juwan Howard anymore for his actions. But speaking of disrespect, let's go and switch gears as well over to Trevor to talk about some more disrespect that's been going on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So the NBA season is back in full effect, and it's about that time that we start having our discussion about who would be this year's most valuable player. I'm going to take a different route here and just go straight to the source, to NBA.com's updated, this was as of yesterday, updated rankings for MVP. So just give me a brief moment to share my screen, and I will get this PowerPoint ready for you guys. So that's if it lets me do it. All right. All right, can you guys see it?
Yep.
Yo,
Yeah,
I
it's
see it.
coming. Yeah, I see the little NBA
Yeah, I see
75. You made the list, Trevor?
I wish.
Right.
I wish. All right. So this is again according to the article that was released yesterday from NBA.com. Their top 10 rankings for the NBA most valuable player for the season. I'm gonna start going from 1 to 5. And at the top of the list, and I think it's no question here. They have last year's MVP, Nicola Jokic. Oh, just for the record, the numbers are rounded up because I didn't feel like putting any points or things of that nature. Y'all remember your basic math. So
The
but anyway,
decimals, I got you. Mhm.
yeah. So Nicola Jokic on the season averaging 26 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists a game, while keeping the Nuggets very much well in playoff position. They're currently sitting at the 6th spot. To be honest, no one really expected the Nuggets to even be in this position, let alone the 6th seed, granted, given all the injuries that they've had. Of course, with Jamal Murray missing pretty much the entire season thus far. So, of course, at the top, Nikola Jokic. A lot of people think he's the best big man in the game. I don't think so, because I always say the best big man resides in Philly, and that's who's at the number 2 spot right now. And that's Joel Embiid. Nothing much else needs to be said. He's averaging 30, 11, and 5 on the Sixers team. Of course, they just got James Harden, that big deal. So it'll be interesting, to see where things go forward once those two starting to get their reps together. So Philly, pretty much one of the top teams in the East. Enough said. In the number 3 spot, last year's Finals MVP and the 2020 MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, averaging 29, 11, and 6. The champs haven't looked back since winning the championship, but a lot of people, for some reason, are still sleeping on them. I guess given that what always transpired at the trade deadline. And then at the 4th spot, which has probably been the biggest storyline of the entire season, and that's Demar Derozan, averaging 28, 5, and 5 for the Bulls. Probably the proponent for all you kids to never change. Just because everyone is doing one thing doesn't necessarily mean you have to adjust to that as well. Absolutely just killing it right now for Chicago. And rounding out the top 5, and this may start some debate, is Steph Curry. The All-Star game MVP, of course, averaged 26, 5, and 6 right now on the Warriors team. That's second in the West. Numbers are down a tad bit from your typical Steph Curry year, but the Warriors are still going strong, even with everything that's transpired for missing Klay Thompson for most of the first half of the season. Draymond Green is out currently. So that's your top 5. So as far as the disrespect, all of us on this podcast is like, yo, where's John Morant? Glad you guys asked that. But rounding out the top 10 of this MVP race, again, this is according to NBA.com. You see Ja Morant sitting in the 7th spot, Devin Booker at 6, Luka Doncic, Chris Paul, and Jimmy Butler rounding out the top 10. So
Jimmy Buckets.
Can you go back one slide? Because I just want Andrew Wiggins' face right there is my exact face when I just realized that John Morant is at 7 on this list. That is my exact face. You can circle my man's right there. That is never mind. This ain't my segment. Sorry, I got carried away. Continue.
You good, Skyler. It's okay. I'm just gonna open this up. Whoever wants to start. But just for the record, Ja Morant is averaging more points than Steph Curry, shooting better from the field than Steph Curry. Steph Curry shooting, let's be honest, he's shooting worse than Russell Westbrook from the field this season, which is hilarious, if you just say the least. Whoever want to start, why is it Ja Morant in the top 5 in the MVP, and who do you guys feel should be MVP this year? I'm just gonna open it up.
I got 2. Or you know what, Austen, you want to go first? You the guest.
Austin.
Yeah, see, but I was getting yelled at. Okay, I just want to make sure
because y'all from Ohio.
Because Trevor left it open. He didn't.
Let me tell y'all why Ja Morant get disrespected on a daily. So if he does not do something either crazy, acrobatic, Sports Center top 10, or have a ridiculous game every single game, then they don't want to talk about his 28 7-7 games. I guess that's regular for a third year, star. I guess that's regular. They don't want to talk about the 28 games. So I guess that's why Ja doesn't get the respect he gets, because I thought he was in the top 5. He's in my, especially since, you carrying a team that nobody had that high in any standings, any rankings. Didn't hear anybody from ESPN like Memphis is going to be a top 4 seed this year. Didn't happen. So that's that on Ja Morant. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to somebody else, because I really want to stick to the Ja topic, and because this is kind of crazy to me that he's not way up on the list. You know what I'm saying? He's carrying to me.
Yeah, and I'll go next. I know the follow up segment right after this is why is he being disrespected? Shout out to my name for the day. But my MVP so far for the season, honestly, I'm gonna be 100 about it. I don't understand how DeMar DeRozan is not at the top of this list. I understand, and I get and I understand what Jokic is doing. I understand what Joel Embiid is doing. But ladies and gentlemen, what DeMar DeRozan has done this season, having the Chicago Bulls where they are in the Eastern Conference, which in my opinion is a pretty tough Eastern Conference this year, to have
Talk about it.
Yeah, to have them where they are, and to see the stretch of the past, like 8 to 10 games where he's, scoring over 35 a game, shooting like field goal percentage is over 50%, like somewhere like damn near 60, like is absolutely insane. And I think I heard on ESPN the other day, nobody has had the stat line like that since Michael Jeffrey Jordan, ladies and gentlemen. So if not, like I get that, I understand what Jokic is doing. I get where Joel Embiid is coming from, but DeMar DeRozan, in my opinion, is at the top of the list. Second, I'll actually go Joel Embiid as at number 2. Again, what the stats that he's putting up this season is crazy. The stats that he's putting up with, we've already talked about it before, but without Ben Simmons, without a true secondary scoring option or number 2 player on the team, I think that's worth enough to be said. But at the end of the day, I think to round out my 3, Ja Morant should be up there for exactly what Austen said. I think nobody outside of maybe even this podcast, maybe even outside of the city of Memphis, had the Memphis Grizzlies maybe winning their division, a top 3, a top 4 seed. And if there's one thing I could understand for why he's not top 5, the only case that I could understand is I think there was a 9-10 game stretch where the Grizzlies actually were winning. They had a really nice winning streak, and it seemed as if, from some people, or that one fan in the stands that game, that the Grizzlies were better without Ja Morant. Until you see the man step on the floor and he takes that team to a whole nother level. Like the swag that they carry themselves with, like, is insane. And it's been backed, in my opinion, it's a lot of that has come from Ja Morant. Like, if you see like how he carries himself on and off the floor, if you see how well he, in my opinion, like, look at what Triple J has done. Like, look how well he's played this year. In my opinion, that's credit to Ja Morant. Look at what Desmond Bane has done. In my opinion, that's credit to what Ja Morant has done. He's getting players, really, in my opinion, wide open shots. He's setting them up for success, which is why I think, he should at least, if nothing else, be considered for MVP. If he doesn't get it, I understand it. But to say that he's not in the top 3, to say he's not in the top 5, to have that man at number 7 behind Devin Booker, who, Devin Booker is Devin Booker. I'm not going to take any credit away from that man. But Jesus Christ, he ain't playing at MVP level more than Ja Morant is. And so that's the reason why we're having this conversation. I don't understand it. I'll pass it on to somebody else. But in my opinion, those are my 3. Ja Morant is third on this list.
Yeah, real quick before someone else taps in on this. Tyler, the reason I said free James Wiseman is because of Steve Kerr's comments last night in regards to James Wiseman. So to paraphrase it, he basically said, don't expect anything from James Wiseman. You're not saying that about a guy that you're looking to possibly get in your lineup, to possibly having your rotation to play some big time playoff basketball. I get it. He's rehabbing. He's going to be in Santa Cruz. I get all of that. But you basically in that situation with what you said, basically are saying you're not planning on playing James Wiseman this season. So that's why I'm saying free James Wiseman, because if
And,
you're not
and,
going
and,
to go ahead, Scott.
No, I was about to say, and it doesn't make sense to say that, yeah, with a straight face, I'm gonna pick Kevon Looney over James Wiseman when James Wiseman is healthy. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not a coach then.
Yeah. But yeah. Anybody else want to tap in on the MVP race? Because I got some stuff on my end about Ja as well. So
I just want to jump in real quick and jump on what Skylar said. I feel like Ja is the best leader in the NBA. Like, as far as like his exuberance to the rest of his teammates, like, you know what I'm saying? Those guys, I feel like they play for him, through him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to let him down because of where he wants them to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's like something different than a lot of other teams. Maybe Miami kind of plays like that, or that's kind of about it. That's kind of about it. It's a short list.
For sure. Let me answer some more. Got a couple other questions. Ryan said, do you think Joel could lose votes now that Harden is there? It depends on how they play the rest of the season. Depending on their first game last night, when he still had 30 and James Harden had 27, nah, he's still rolling.
His numbers is gonna slip, but I don't think it's gonna like hurt him in the MVP race. His numbers are gonna dip. He's probably not gonna be averaging 30 anymore. He's probably gonna be around 26, 27, and still will be right there in the top 5. So.
They still gonna be. They're probably gonna win a little more. You know, regular season. James Harden's a great regular season player, so they'll probably win more, and he'll still be in there.
You said Aaron Rodgers, Harden. Is that who you said? Or my fault? I'm sorry.
Can we officially call DeMar DeRozan mid-range maestro?
Maestro. They're calling him that for real.
I thought we pick on
maybe of current players, yeah. All time, no.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair. But let me start from the top.
He got to do it in the playoffs or something.
Yeah, both him and Harden got a lot to prove in the playoffs this year. That's what this season going to determine for both of them. But let me start with the top. Jokic, why is he number one? That's the biggest. I understand Denver. I understand Michael Porter's out. I understand Jamal Murray out. They still I guess number 6. He carried them to number 6. I know Jokic having a great year, but come on now, man. Like, to me, in my opinion, like Skylar said, the 3 Skylar had is my 3. I don't have really specific order. I'd probably say maybe Embiid is first, but DeMar DeRozan has a great case to be number 1 right now. And Ja got to be in top 3. I mean, Jokic is number 1 over those 3. Like, 4 of their next 5 they got behind them is over him, in my opinion. And I know Jokic is the reigning MVP. Giannis is sneaking back up there, but the Bucks are kind of, they normally give MVPs to the teams that are winning the most. They are kind of like at the top seed and stuff. That's why I understand why Devin Booker is there, because Phoenix got far and away the best record, so they got to have somebody in the discussion. So Devin Booker, in my opinion, should probably be at top 5, in my opinion. So I put him at number 5, and I probably have so that means I got to choose between Giannis and Jokic. I put Giannis at number 4, man. Jokic, he's that's my biggest complaint with this whole list is Jokic being at number 1. I don't even have him in my top 5, barely. And I know he having a great year, but that's my biggest thing.
So are we doing who we got for MVP now, or who we expect to be MVP by the end of the season?
Yes, well, if you want to take the topic.
Wherever you want to take from this topic.
So right now, I do have Joel Embiid as MVP right now. I don't think his numbers will drop at all, to be honest with you, especially when you consider what Joel Embiid needs to do for that Philly team to win. In fact, if they don't stay the same, I think they may progress with James Harden, demanding a little bit more pressure, off him. So, and Tyrese Maxey is still doing this thing, of course. So, I got Embiid sticking with the MVP so far. Number 2, I do have DeMar DeRozan. I'm getting tired of the disrespect just because he don't play the 3 ball a lot. And, we got everybody, you got to be able to shoot the 3. You got to be able to shoot the 3. It kind of devalues him as a basketball player. But the guy's averaging his career high at the age of 32. When you look at the end of games, give him the ball, get the hell out the way. That's an MVP type of player. What else kind of guy would you expect? They're number 2 in the East. They've had major injuries throughout the entire season. They're still number 2 in the East. Give this man the respect and the flowers he deserves, like, for real. Number 3, I do got Giannis. Consistency is key. Keep doing this thing. Averaging career high in assists. That's what a lot of people don't know. So 29-11, 6 assists for Giannis is crazy. And I think that's number 3 for right now. Number 4, easily Ja Morant. And for us to, of course, we have to talk about why he's being disrespected, but you do have to kind of consider the missed games. And I think for the analysts and the voters that will decide the MVP race, they're going to look at when their star player, their MVP player goes down, and instead of your team going down, your team actually got better. And it's a weird way for some people to think, which is, it sucks. You know, people are numbers guy. Ja Morant missed, 10, 13 games for the season so far. I think that will matter. And as long as Joel Embiid, you can say the same thing for Joel Embiid, who's missed a few games as well. But as long as he stays healthy, that's why I don't see him getting past number 1. Number 5, I still got Steph Curry, because at different times of the seasons, you did have different players that he's going to be MVP. He's going to be MVP. He's going to be MVP. At the beginning of the season, literally Steph Curry was the MVP, for the season. And I think what we saw after the All-Star break, was him getting his stroke back. I think that the second half of the season, Steph Curry could end up being top 3. So that's my take on that. But give Demar Derozan his damn respect, please.
Yes, fair. My bad, Sheedy. Right before you go, the Grizzlies are 13-2 without Ja. And to Tuke's point, the last game he missed right before the All-Star break, they won in New Orleans. Then he came back in this game, then they lost. So fair or not fair, they are going. National media is going to try to use that type of stuff against them.
Yeah. The question about MVP race, and realistically, it's an American issue.
He freeze or
he froze?
He never freeze.
Good one.
Shitty.
There you go.
Shitty.
How embarrassing that everyone's screen went black and I'm just talking like an idiot. But again, the case is it the best player on the best team or the most valuable player? And to the point that has already been said, my top 3. I'll give you my top 3 and I'll give you my reasons about why. I think DeMar DeRozan believes to be number 1 in the MVP race. He's carried the Bulls to a different level. When it's time to win a game, you give it to him. How many game winners have we watched DeMar DeRozan give us time in and time out and keep his team in the game? And this guy is not shooting this from the 3-point line. He's taking it where he needs to go. And so I got DeMar 1, Embiid 2, and Ja's 3. But allow me to play devil's advocate. When it comes to statistics, the most meaningful statistic is the oldest statistic in the book, which is wins and losses. And so when you talk about that, you talk about Giannis. Giannis, the Bucks are 5-6 without him, which means they're 45% winning average. Without Steph Curry, the Warriors are 40%. You take Joker off of the Nuggets, and granted, they're a 6 seed, but they're only winning 17% of their games. And Joel Embiid is only, when he's gone, 33% of their games for the 76ers before the trade. And so the argument about why maybe Ja not, without Ja, statistically, wins and losses wise, they are 87% winning. And so that is just numbers telling you. Now, that's not the eye test, right? That's just the numbers, analytics. And because you can always manipulate numbers to be whatever you want them to be. Now, is that fair? No. And do I think Embiid's stock goes down because of Harden? No, I think Harden elevates himself to possibly be in the top 10 of this race, not in the top 5. Just because look what he did when he went to the Nets. And speaking of the Nets, if it weren't about games played, KD could also be in the MVP race because the Nets have completely bombshelled since his injury. And as a matter of fact, their winning streak is 29% without KD this season. And so it's if you give me numbers, I'm going to talk about it with wins and losses and how your team goes without you. But again, eye test, again, give me DeMar DeRozan, give me Joel Embiid, and give me Ja for top 3. If we want to go to 5, I don't want to do all that right now because I know we got to talk about Ja, and I know Trevor's got to go as well. But I'll leave my 3 where they're at for now.
Yeah. Well, Sheedy's 3 is exactly my 3, except 1 and 2 is actually switched. I still have Joel Embiid as my top guy for MVP this year. Just what he's done for this entire season, given everything that's going on, has been nothing short of amazing. And I think that's going to elevate now that Harden is there. Like I said before, his numbers are going to slip just a tad, but I still expect him to be at least in the top 3 for the MVP, if not number 1. Number 2 is obviously DeMar DeRozan. And I wouldn't be surprised if DeMar DeRozan actually won MVP. For a guy that the national media was slick trying to push out the league and who was basically sent to the Spurs to pretty much die off because of the way he played. Because it's like, well, he doesn't shoot a lot of threes. He's shooting a lot of inefficient twos. And a lot of people really question why he went to Chicago this past offseason. And a lot of people didn't expect Chicago to be here. For him to not only have Chicago where they are and to have the season that he's having, to Tuke's point, at 32, pretty much just playing playoff basketball every single night, because let's just be real. When the playoffs come, tempo slows down, who's going to get you a bucket? And DeMar DeRozan is showing you the different ways to do that during playoff basketball. So you got to have him at number 2. At number 3, you got to have Ja Morant, because the point that you're making for Jokic is the same. Ja has a stronger case, pretty much, because no one expected the Grizzlies last season. I'm going back to last season. No one expected the Grizzlies the last season to be in the play-in, let alone get to the playoffs last season. They were expecting Memphis to be a lottery team. They were not expecting Memphis to do much more of anything. They had Memphis right around 42 wins, if I'm not mistaken, on FanDuel. I'm still beating myself up that I didn't take that bet. So nothing was expected of the Grizzlies this season. And for Ja Morant to not only have the Grizzlies back in the playoffs, but potentially a top 4 seed in his 3rd season, you got to put some respect on it in some case and form. Yeah, I get it. The Grizzlies are 13-2 without him, but to Skylar's point, when he's on the court, the Grizzlies are at a much higher level than anyone else could really argue against that. So I'll leave my point there and transition into the next point as far as why is Ja Morant constantly being disrespected, and I'll give my point. From what I've seen just on the internet and watching, yeah, it's lack of TV exposure due to ESPN, because I'm tired. I literally watched the Celtics and the Nets play 2 weeks in a row on TNT. So that's already an issue there. We literally had to watch the Clippers and the Lakers play last night, which that shouldn't even been on ESPN last night. Let's just be honest.
I got a question about that. They flexed off the Grizzlies games against the Knicks. Why the hell they can't flex off these other games?
Because at the end of the day,
got money.
People are still going to watch the Lakers. That's essential. If there's nothing else, I will understand. People are still going to watch LeBron James.
Yeah.
Whether he win or lose, they want to see him lose.
But but the narrative around Ja is, which I feel is crazy, is that this season Ja Morant is having what they consider a breakout season. But you can't have a breakout season if you're already out the gate. Shout out Lieutenant G. So, because if you want to consider a breakout season, that was last season. And then if you want to even argue, you could argue that his rookie season was that way, because the group literally went from a lottery team before drafting him literally to a fringe playoff team, and now from a fringe playoff team to possibly being a contender in the playoffs. On top of that, and I think it's just because it's Memphis. I think nobody wants to see Memphis at the top like this, and I'll pass it off to whoever else wants to chime in.
Yeah, I think it's lack of TV exposure, national TV exposure. But I think it's also just the fact that people don't like to admit when they're wrong. We talked about, nobody had the Grizzlies, where they are this season. Nobody even had the Grizzlies where they finished the season off last year. And so because nobody wants to say, damn, you know what, I'm wrong. And so because I'm wrong, let me switch gears a little bit to say, okay, because I'm wrong, now this is what I'm saying. And I'm willing to say, okay, Ja Morant is at least worthy of being an MVP. I don't think we're not saying that Ja Morant desperately has to win MVP this season. We're not saying it. It's the lack of these lists that we see. It's the lack of, like, when people run out these names for MVPs to say, at the end of the day, he's at least worthy of being in the conversation. That's why we're having this conversation on this particular form. And so I don't understand, or I could really care less as to why he's not getting the recognition. Just say, damn it, I'm wrong, and he should be in the conversation. That's it. That's all I care about. But for some people to tweet me and say, oh, he's not there yet, or he's not ready yet, what in the hell? Like, I don't understand that particular statement. He really, when you say he's not there yet, the man is literally averaging 26 points a game. The man is literally, when there's a 1 or 2 possession game at the end of a game, Ja Morant has the ball in his hands, and one of two things is happening. Either he's getting to the bucket or he's getting somebody a wide open shot every single time. And we talked about what Demar Derozan is doing at the end of the game. In my opinion, Ja Morant is doing the exact same thing to close games out, other teams to win those particular games. Yes, I get it. He's 13-2 when he's not playing, but I'd be damned if you could run me, if they go another 15 games this season, or even you can run a 15-game stretch and say, can they do that again? In my opinion, I love the Grizzlies. I love everybody on their roster from top to bottom, but I'd be damned if they could run another 15-game stretch and go 13-2 without Ja Morant. The man is good. The man is amazing. And I would just wish for people to say, damn, I'm wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. There's nothing in the Bible. There's nothing that Joe Biden says that you can't be wrong. It's okay, people, to be wrong. It's okay to say, you know what, it's this guy in Memphis, Tennessee that is doing great things for the city. He's doing great things for the league. Give him the recognition. Give him the applause that he needs. That's all that I care about.
Yeah, and also Ja Morant is leading everybody in most points in a quarter with 10 in the third quarter. That's the highest average for any player in any specific quarter. So that's another stat for you on that one.
And is he not still leading the league in like points per game, which is crazy?
I think so.
Which is crazy.
Yep, he is.
Yep. And I also seen the other day that or yesterday from the DeMar DeRozan game, they said that DeMar DeRozan just tied Ja Morant for most 20-point halves in the NBA for the season. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Something that Ja was leading in ahead of him. So I was like, oh, okay. Because I was like, I know they wanted to put DeMar DeRozan and give him his own stat or whatever, but I was like, oh, there's something else that Ja's done that they didn't want to talk about or didn't highlight. But also to Skylar's point, guess what? Next year, everybody's going to say, oh, Ja Morant's going to be our MVP favorite. They're going to want to look like geniuses next year. All the analysts, the ESPN people, they're going to say, oh, yeah, Ja Morant's going to be our sneaky MVP favorite.
And still not giving votes. That's the crazy part.
I think in this day and age, like, Leadon, you hit it right on the head. Like, for one, people don't like to be wrong. Because if I guarantee if you redo that 2021 draft, or 2020 draft, I'm sorry, that you pick Ja Morant ahead of Zion, right? So I think that's number one. Number two is that these analysts don't like to give the younger players the respect that they do. And it is as simple as that. For one, we're playing in a small market like Memphis. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see us. They don't want to see us become the Bucks of the Western Conference. You know what I'm saying? But it's happening. It is literally happening right before their eyes. And like you said, people don't like being wrong. They don't like to admit when they're wrong. Ja Morant has been nothing less of spectacular since he's been on the court. Rookie of the year. You know, beat the Warriors in the play-in last season. Like, he should be in everybody's top three. But like I said, everybody is so focused on the numbers and the fact that, you know, people be based on the numbers. I'm just saying purely based on the numbers, people can say that the Grizzlies are a better team without him. That's literally the only reason why Ja Morant shouldn't be in everybody's top 5 in MVP is because they, statistically speaking and numbers wise, they're 13-2 without this man. But we know what's up, and Ja Morant knows what's up. He said he was a top 5 point guard last year, and we kind of, okay, let's see, show us. And now he's an NBA All-Star started this year, and now he got the rest of the season for him to make his case continuously because I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else he can do at this point.
I'm not going for that. I'm just gonna be real, because you can attest to this. The Warriors in what I think it was 2016 ran off 30 straight without Steve Kerr coaching, and that's just on sheer talent alone. So I mean, to Skyler's point, if you ask the Grizzlies to do that again, they probably couldn't do it. They'd probably go 7-8, possibly 8-7. But yeah.
Here's the thing, and I disagree with you with that. And I had to talk with my homie about this on why the Grizz was so good. Is because if you look at how the Grizz are structured, even though they're so young, their chemistry, they've been around 3 years from now. Their chemistry is what the Lakers don't have. You know what I'm saying? Is what the Suns they're getting this their second year going. The Warriors still finding themselves, but it's that chemistry that's going to show a lot. And I think because we have that chemistry and Tyus Jones were able to step in and do what needed. Triple J was able to step up as he should have. You know what I'm saying? The team collectively was able to step up. I think that you could possibly use that case as saying Ja Morant has a much better team without the Grizzlies have a much better team without Ja Morant than the Nuggets have without Jokic, or the Bucks have without Giannis, or the Warriors have without Steph. I think that's kind of like the only case for these old head analysts that are going to be voting for MVP conversations. I think that's going to be their way of saying Ja Morant isn't in their top 5 or top 3.
Well, they need to go ahead and give JJJ, you know what I'm saying, give him that Defensive Player of the Year. Then somebody got to get something out of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if let's say Triple J wins that award, Bane wins Most Improved, Jenkins wins Coach of the Year, how can we give Ja Morant MVP when we got all these, great people around him? And that I'm just speaking numbers wise. Y'all know how I feel about y'all.
Now you know they're not finna give Memphis Grizzlies
trolling
personnel all of those trophies.
Yeah, I was gonna say
they'll give us Dance Bane for Most Improved Player.
Right.
One.
They'll give us one. They'll give us one. So it's like, we give y'all one. We're not finna give y'all another. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. It's been looking like
it's Zion eating good. I tell you.
Eating good in New Orleans, apparently. So.
And so I remember Savage tweeted like something about how Zion was like Greg Oden and Ja is like Kevin Durant, which is like quite funny to me. Yeah. I like it.
But back to my guy, the fellas present Sports Raps. My guy C. Henry, man, appreciate you tuning in. He said, "How do the other young players' development factor into the team's success?" It does, because the team has developed at a rapid pace. I think the first year, Giles' rookie year, they made it to the play-in, and that was only because of some BS that the NBA created because of the bubble to try and get Zion in, which New Orleans failed miserably at. Then we lost to Portland. Then the next year, they all the whole group did develop. They made it to the play-in again, beat Golden State, got into the playoffs. Then this year, mostly the same group, same thing, another year of development, all of them, not just Ja. And Ja took the next level to superstar. Jaren took the next level to borderline all-star, if not a legit all-star, just to get chosen for it. Desmond Bane took the next step from, he was a rookie averaging 6, 7, 8 points to almost 20 points. And you missing another player in Dylan Brooks who could average almost 20. So the whole team has developed, but let's just keep it a buck. If the Grizzlies, like I think Trevor mentioned, they went 8-7 without Ja. Guess what? The Grizzlies would have a worse record, and guess what? They would say Ja's not MVP because guess what? They got a worse record. Either way, they're gonna make an excuse not to give him MVP unless he had to play only way he had to play every single game, and they have to have the same record. Even then, they'll find some way to not put him in the top 5, top 3 conversation. I know. I remember first in the beginning of the year on starting 5, I was one to. I don't know. Y'all didn't look at me crazy, but it was like a surprise prediction where I predicted the Grizzlies to be top 5 and Ja Morant to be in top 5 MVP candidate because of the offseason moves they made. But I believed in exactly the development of the young players developing and them moving up to become what they are. And they even surprised me because I didn't predict them to be top 3 battling for number 2. I said top 5, and I literally thought number 5. So I said top 5. So
kudos to your point there, because I really think that another knock to is like he created this confidence that every other player plays with, like, you know what I'm saying, something that you don't see in other NBA teams. Who doesn't play like a dog on the Memphis, on the Memphis Grizzlies? Who doesn't? if Zion, you know what I'm saying, if Zion was there, would everybody play like that? Would, you know what I'm saying, would Bane be where
That'd
he
be
was at?
hurt.
Or, you know what I'm saying, exactly, you know what I'm saying? Would everybody be at the levels that they're at? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So all that, you know, all those things matter. So that was a good point that you said there.
Right.
And Austin literally took the words right out of my mouth, because I look at an MVP like not only, again, what you do on the floor, but what you do off the floor. And if you can imagine that gif of Draymond like in KD's ear, like essentially hyping him up, that's exactly what John Morant is doing. Not just to Desmond Bane, not just to Triple J, but he's doing it to every single player. He gives them like that sense of belief that, like, I don't care who's on the other side. I don't care if it's the Lakers. I don't care if it's the Bucks. I don't care if it's the Bulls. We can win this game. I know for damn sure I can be whomever I want to be in this league. And John Morant is giving them that back. And that's what an MVP is. Like, that's what a true leader is. And I would just wish people would understand that aspect of what an MVP is, instead of like just the numbers that comes with it at the end of the day. Like, there's a whole different set of things that you have to look at to say, like, okay, this person is actually worth being in the MVP discussion.
Exactly. And just like piggyback off your point
Who's
earlier,
that from the
Skyler.
Memphis Hustle?
What about the Memphis Hustle?
He goes to
who's that
Memphis
guy
Hustle
from the
games
Memphis
too.
Hustle? Ja be posting him. I don't know. Ja posting the guy from the Memphis Hustle, Shaq or something. I forgot
Shaq
what his
Buchanan.
name
Oh,
is.
Shaq
but-
Buchanan. Yeah, that's his
He
high
played
school.
in
High
Memphis.
school
Yeah,
mate.
like
Yeah.
don't nobody else in the NBA post their G League players.
You sure do. You going to the game. Big facts. But also, piggyback off Skyler's point earlier when he said something about the people that was making comments talking about Ja's not ready yet. Like I said, if not now, when? What, he gonna need the number 1 seed? The Phoenix Suns got the best record in the NBA by 6 games, and we barely mentioned Devin Booker in the top 5 MVP. So, hey, what? That don't mean nothing.
You got to dunk on Rudy Gobert, lock up Steph Curry, average more triple doubles than LeBron, sell the most tickets. Like, what else does this man have to do to like garner these folks' respect, man? It's right. Ridiculous.
Outside of Kendrick Perkins and Monica McNutt, shout out to both of them.
Shout out to them. Shout out to them.
Jay Williams too.
Yeah,
Jay Williams. Shout out Jay Williams for making
we started to get some. We started to creep up there, but hopefully, I'm assuming we're gonna get more national games because all the highlights job producing. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. The disrespect. Skyler talked about how people are coming to him like, again, we're talking about not ready, so to speak, right? But clearly, and Tuke brought this up too, clearly at least, 1.5 million people thought he was good enough to start an NBA All-Star game. And so, and be a starter being he's one of the 2 best guards in his conference. So, and which means he's also a top 10 player within the league, so to speak, because he's garnished that many votes. So it really comes down to the analysts who are the same people that get fatigued for not voting for like a LeBron or KD or something like that. But instead, you're still being, to me, fatiguing by voting for Jokic, right? I think you're just doing that just to save grace. Giannis is having a decent season, but I don't believe he deserves to be in the top 4, maybe a top 5, yes, but not a top 4, so to speak, or as strong of a case. And so where does the fatigue stop to drop off, and where does this insurgence of new talent start to happen? And Ja has proven that. Again, I gave you the facts of why I can understand why people are saying he does not deserve to be there because of the numbers of wins and losses. But again, I don't go off of that. I go off an eye test. And what my brothers have already said about how Ja Morant plays on and off the court is huge. I'm not saying that Joker and Beeb and these other guys do not do that. I'm saying that Ja does it at a whole different level, MVP level, than these other players are producing. These other players are more or less concerned about themselves, where Ja is more concerned about the team. Is that not a leader? Is that not what you want? Is that not what we should be looking for an MVP candidate? But again, it goes back to that. Is this the best player on the best team? Which, again, to your point, Cap, they had 2 in the top 10, but I mean, they're not even scratching the top 5 with Booker and CP3. But again, this is the best team in the West, by far the best team in the whole league, and they can't even get a player in the top 5. So stop disrespecting Ja. watch the games. For all you guys that are not in Memphis, get you the app. The NBA app is on like $50 now, so go ahead and get that on the low.
I
And
am
actually,
more than willing to share my league pass password if you guys need it. I am more than willing. All you got, just reach out. Just let me know.
I'm
but
just
see,
glad
it doesn't need. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, I'm glad you didn't say the Bally Sports app because we know how I feel about that slow ass app.
No, I definitely wasn't going to mention Valley Fitness and all that. But what I will say is that league pass, Trevor, needs to be shared with the analysts that are actually doing the voting. It's not us that are actually watching these games that know what's going on. Again, they're just trying to create some facade. And unfortunately, it does not matter what Ja does in the playoffs, because as we know, this is a regular season award, not an entire, season, so to speak, progression. And so you would be dumbfounded not to at least put him in the top 3 right now, like immediately right now, and then progress into next year. And who knows, Ja may make a serious climb that moves him to number 1 or number 2. I think it's very difficult knowing those 2 players that I foresee that are above him right now. But is it impossible? No. People said it was impossible for the Grizzlies to even be in the playoffs realistically this year. And look at us, a number 3 seed in the West and possibly a number 2 seed before this is all said and done.
Yeah. Real quick, and this is my last point before we can move on. I wonder how much of the love that Jokic is getting now is basically everybody admitting that they're wrong about last year. Because you remember last season, they were really trying to make a huge case for Chris Paul, even Steph, to be MVP, where it was clear at that point last year that it was Nicola Jokic. So I wonder how much of the love that he's getting this season is all these people that vote admitting they were wrong last season about Jokic. So just something to ponder on real quick.
One last thing before we move forward, my guy Mike had mentioned about Titans. Us sound similar to Titans fans. It's similar, but it's also different because we're more so clamoring for Ja Morant. I mean, the Grizzlies are having success. We're not clamoring for them like to get the national respect. Like how as Titans fan, yeah, how we was asking for a national meeting, not talking about this. Ja Morant, we asking for individual accolade. We just asking to be mentioned as MVP candidate more so than even right now. They ain't even got on top 5, so we like. Come on, y'all. Like, get them some type of recognition.
Yeah, and give the team some kind of recognition, too. Because it's like they're third in the conference, but you don't hear nobody talking about how Memphis could potentially be a contender and potentially go to the final.
I've heard it. I've heard it now.
Now, probably recently.
Yeah. But of course, I mean, they had to see them keep winning because nobody projected the Grizzlies to be where they at now. So, you had to keep that one on the book on that one.
You're right.
Yeah, and
no, I was just saying.
Also, I don't think Minnesota want that smoke either.
Oh no, bro! People so talking about hey, that's a scary first round matchup. Now, like one game,
Minnesota would be tough, but
it would be tough. But
I'm not worried about Minnesota.
But let's move on to I got a would you rather. So it's been a while since we did this segment. I got an interesting one. So. I've been seeing a lot of bored people on my timeline. As soon as football season ended, the first Sunday after football season, man, there's no more football. What are we going to do now? So that made me really question, do people even like basketball? Would you rather? Which one's your favorite sport? Basketball, football. Would you rather? You had to pick one and only one. Which one would you pick?
I'm sorry. That John is football all dang day. For me personally, it is football all day. And I think it's more so because two reasons. It's a shorter season. It's a shorter season, and you only play on a week-to-week basis, so like on a week-to-week cadence. So it's just like there's a small little craving that I have. I'm like, damn, I know the Steelers just lost, but damn, it's like I want to see it again. And I think it's that, and I think it's just everything that just comes with football. It's so many games in basketball, and you can really just kind of like flip a switch because really, it's essentially what I've done is I was so heavy into football, and then it's like, okay, there's so many games in the NBA that I could just flip the switch when the Super Bowl is over with, just like to catch up on the NBA games because there's 22 games left. So in a sense, I can gather what I need to grasp for the playoffs. So I can be like, okay, cool, this is a team that I could see doing it, or this is a team that I could see doing it. With the NFL. There's a lot that happens each week And essentially, what happened this past year and what's happened in the past couple of years is really any team can surprise you. Somebody can just get hot, and I mean really hot with the last 5 to 6 weeks and win the Super Bowl, which that could happen in the NBA, but you don't see it that often, right? And I think because of it's that level of like uncertainty, like who you really don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. It's like, damn, like that's why I want to watch football more. So that's why it's football for me.
So the question is, would you rather watch football or basketball, right?
If you had to choose one, if you had to say, hey, I can only choose football or basketball to watch it the rest of my life, which one?
I'm gonna have to go basketball because it's saying like I'm having to choose a sport, and y'all know me, I'm a 2K head. So I feel like you pretty much saying 2K is involved with that too, and I can't give up my basketball. So.
No, we're not going to
2K involved with it. It's watching the games.
It was your decision to.
And
you
this is
stand
cool.
by that decision.
And this is not just NBA, NFL. This is including college as well. Way up, like.
Because I really don't.
I really got so mad. So
I literally just get everything you just said, Lito, is once a week, sometimes twice. But basketball is so smart. It's so important to me, man. It's so special. It's something special about that orange ball going into the net, bro. I can't live without my basketball.
Let me go next. I got my answer. It's very tough, but I go with football for this reason. Kind of similar to what Skyler said. Almost in college, every game do matter. Literally, you lose one game, you might not even be a chance to play for the national championship. So literally, every game matters.
Good point.
And college basketball, you can do the Memphis Tigers. You can be slowing out, then go on a run in February, and all of a sudden you're back in the bubble, right? Win your conference tournament, and you get in the tournament automatically and have a shot. You can have a hot run in the NCAA tournament and get there, right? College is not, you ain't got the, you ain't got the leeway. For NFL, almost every game do matter. Almost every game do matter. Like, you can't slip up too many times in the NFL. You might not be in the playoffs. College in NBA, I ain't gonna lie, like during the NBA season, before All-Star break, I literally only watch Grizzlies games. I barely watch. I have the national TV games on my TV. Come watching football because the games don't matter. Teams, people resting, people not, teams, man, like a day school. Team will come out and play a sorry team. All right, we're gonna take this game lightly. It'd be always stuff like that to go on until after All-Star break. That's when it starts ramping up because you start getting ready for playoffs. So to me, that's why I would pick football, because every game matters more than basketball, similar to what Scott said.
You threw the wrench in with saying college basketball too.
It's
but
basketball, football. I didn't say NFL, NBA.
I get it.
It's high school, middle school, wherever you want to go. Pee-wee.
Yeah, man, give me basketball. It's not just because I coach it and love, I have a love for both sports actually. But basketball is not going to be affected. How do I put this? You're right. Every game matters in the NFL. Yes, I completely agree. And every game really matters in the NCAA football. I completely agree with that. And if it rains, storms, or whatever, it can change how that game is actually played in the NFL. It could be a blizzard outside, and Ja can still give you 30, 10, and 10 without any hesitation of what's going on. And so, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you're right. The games don't really, quote unquote, matter for NBA until like the All-Star game. I definitely hear that as well. They're not as meaningful. But I'm all into basketball, man. And if I'm gonna watch one sport until the rest of my life, I'll take NBA, WNBA, NCAA men's, non-Memphis, whoever it may be.
Yeah. My name is League Pass Trevor for a reason. So give me basketball all day, every day. I get it. Yes, every game does matter in the NFL. Only, just be honest, half the games matter in college football, because all you really got to do is win 6 games. You're getting a bowl game in college football. The element that you get from the NFL playoffs, you get that in March Madness, where it's a winner go home, one game, winner take all type of deal. I get it that you get everything on a week-to-week basis with football, but after that specific game, they're talking about that for the entire week leading up until the following week. Whereas with the NBA, that's for the week. Whereas with the NBA, like you can see a great performance from someone, and if you didn't watch that game, you just missed it because now you just got to move on. And it's again, watching the actual game is not the same as watching the highlights. Let me just make that perfectly clear because you can watch the highlights and be like, oh, this no. If you watch the game as it developed, then you would understand why. So that's basically what I do, man. I'd be like, all right, who's playing tonight and what's going on? So my whole thing with DeMar DeRozan being an MVP is not because of what everyone else is talking about. Like I've sat in this very apartment and watched Bull games. Like I literally watched him destroy the Spurs by himself in the fourth quarter. Like stuff like that you get on a night-to-night basis. And if you don't see it, you just don't see it because the very next day is another slew of games on. But I love both sports. Don't get me wrong. I would definitely take a good football game as well. But again, just that night-to-night basis. And then with football, every game matters, but you really can backdoor your way into the playoffs. Just ask the Pittsburgh Steelers. So yeah, it's give me basketball.
For me, I'm pretty much going piggyback off the last. Yeah, it's NBA all day for me. I'm a hoops person. I enjoy the nightly games. I enjoy being able to just catch a game every day pretty much. But the other thing I like about the NBA is the underdog stories of coaches and players. So like this season, nobody thought the Cavs was going to be able to start 3 7-footers and be a top 4 seed in the East. They thought we was a lottery team. So, you know what I'm saying? So that those types of situations they come in the NFL, but you know who's slaw in the NFL. You know who's good. You know what I mean? If you got a good quarterback, you're good. If you got a, you know what I'm saying? If you don't, you're probably not. It's real simple, you know what I'm saying? In the NBA, you know what I'm saying? If it's all different types of ways that you can win. You don't need a amazing point guard. You don't need an amazing center. You know what I'm saying? But if you like the Bucks, they don't have an amazing point guard. You know, they got Drew, but he's not Chris Paul. But they got Giannis. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not like that in the NFL for me. The NFL is, it's you get that one game and then it's like, damn, I gotta watch us lose again next week.
Case to Austin's point, look no more than the Pelicans who just beat the Suns last night. So so there you go.
They look like Dame.
For sure. Man, I had to make it a little tough on y'all. I had to go ahead and do it. Like I said, we all love both sports. I'm the type of person, honestly, the day after I love basketball just as equally as football. So this literally was a tough choice for me. When that season ended, that first Sunday, I was like, cool, basketball on. I see y'all in my time, like, oh man, no more football. Dang, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. I'm sitting there watching basketball. I'm like, I see y'all complain.
I'm like, we got March Madness will be here in the next few weeks.
This is the time to watch college.
Then a month after that, we got the NBA playoffs. So you're gonna be all right.
I ain't gonna be like that to June. I'm good.
Yeah, because with this baseball lockout, it's looking kind of ugly right now. So yeah.
And they deserve it for not putting Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame. They deserve everything.
I agree.
I agree. A whole different way, man.
I'm okay with
I
that.
agree.
They deserve it.
That's a whole.
I feel like we about to get an ugly lockout from almost every sport for real.
Facts.
I know
Oh, I said the NBA is heading for it. Soon that CBA is up. The NBA is about to
WNBA.
Yep.
Just the WNBA, they just pay them people, pay them ladies, pay them ladies.
Man, I saw they
got some money.
I saw their what was that? Their salary cap, their max. Pitiful. That y'all want
Bluebird making. I think she's making $72,000 this upcoming season for this 1 year deal.
The Supermax is not even $1 million, bro.
I know.
That's not
I'm
even-
just.
that's not
That's
even-
pitiful.
I know it's not a meal, but I'm saying she's making $72,000 to play for Seattle one more season.
That's bad.
Yo, what is going on?
It's bums in the NBA that got paid last night.
Man, look, Rudy Gobert got paid
That's
200 mil.
just
I don't want to hear
crazy.
nothing else.
Luol Deng
I don't
is
want to hear
still
nothing
getting
else
paid,
about
by
not
the
being
way.
able to.
All right, come on. He brought up Luol Deng.
Are y'all still paying his contract?
They all still
Y'all
paying.
still
Them. The Lakers are still paying.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
That could-
man.
that could have slaughtered-
Yeah.
They could have
When
slaughtered
y'all
Fred.
done paying his? When y'all done with that contract, bro?
I think it's either this year or next year. I don't know.
Wow.
That is a
Next year.
flex.
Yeah, 2023.
That is a flex.
2023. What?
That could have slaughtered where you could think Tony Snell is getting paid more than these folks, man. This is
My
He
man
the
said
greatest
Tony
agent 30
Snell.
for 30. Luol Deng's agent he's in that top
He
5
got it. Let
greatest
me
agents.
He
let me
gotta
find
be
out who
goated.
it is.
nah. He still ain't got my guy in baseball.
He ain't
Bonita.
got Bobby Bonilla, but
Bobby Bonilla.
he
Got him
ain't got Bobby Bonilla, but
Right,
it's
everybody-
up there.
Yep, man. Almost 25 years later, still getting paid.
Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid from a contract he signed back in '99. I think it's '99. It might be earlier than that.
He really
Bruh.
getting new money. Like
Bruh.
Yes, and it's on the same day every single year. He getting a meal.
money from
Must
2010
be
to 99.
nice.
That's wild.
All right, man. Man, great episode, man. Appreciate you coming on. Oh, shit, do you have something?
I had two would you rather. You didn't ask me. You
Man,
just want to
word.
close the
Keep it
door.
going.
That's
Like,
fine.
I'm digging
That's
this.
fine.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. Let's go.
I know Skylar got to leave in a second, so just keep it going.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason. But
Yeah,
you
we
go.
got 10.
we got time. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Let's go.
Question. Would you rather? And it's really what do you do more frequently as an African American male? Okay. Do you look out the peephole when locking the front door or start snapping your fingers to remember something? What do you do more frequently?
Snap my fingers more to remember
yeah.
something.
Snap
And
my
that's
fingers.
only because I now have the technology to where, like, well, I'm not looking at the peephole at all. If you
Yeah.
ring my doorbell, if you knock on my door, I'm going to look at my app on my phone.
Exactly.
And you better hope that you told me you was on the way. Because if you
Yeah.
do not tell me you was on the way, I'm going to look at you through my camera. So I don't even just really pay attention to people, but I promise you, for somebody who just turned 30, I have the worst memory known to man. It's always like,
Yeah.
what is it? What is it? Especially when you got a baby. When you got a kid, you can't remember nothing, bro. So it's the snapping of the fingers. To
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a snapping of the
Snapping
fingers for me too. Yeah, because you just check the ring app, or in my case, how my apartment's set up, I know my surroundings. So it's like if you behind me, I know you behind me. So it's nothing. So
Bro, I got a peephole on my door. We got like little blinds I can look through. Like
Fancy,
Snap my
fancy.
fingers.
fancy.
Tell me you rich without telling me you rich.
Nah. Y'all
He
want
got,
to-
he got
nah.
the new Jeffrey out there being his bodyguard. Listen, I got one more.
Bel Air reference. I love it.
Oh, my
Hey,
fault.
great rendition.
Great rendition.
Two and Austin, my
I
fault.
will
Y'all
admit.
didn't go before I go. I got one more. Go ahead, two, and then Austin.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say shit. I'll lose a headphone or leave my keys
That's
or
cap.
something before I have to look out the peephole or something like that. So I probably got to work the other day and only had one headphone, so I'm snapping my fingers.
I'm definitely a finger snapper, bro.
Got you. All right. Again, would you rather? What do you do more likely? Rent out a cup, even though it's clean already, or hold up the remote and wonder why it's not working?
It's definitely hold the remote.
The remote.
Yeah.
It's the
This
remote.
man, you Google some stuff, bro.
It's the remote because I
I'm
do it all the
always
time with my sound.
I feel like all 4 of these scenarios happened to him this morning. The man been up.
Yep.
for so long.
Yeah, they had to, right?
It did.
I
It
low-key
had
want to
to.
go with the cup. I low-key want to go with the cup.
You rent it out?
You rinse
I
it out
always
even
rinse
though
it,
it's already
always.
clean.
You never
I got
know.
Just
I get you.
always. You never know. You know.
I
You
rinse
never
it out
know who's
too.
in
I just do the remote thing more.
Yeah, I do the
Definitely
remote.
a little
My
bit.
son might have tried to
Jesus
drink
Christ,
out
I'm
of it or
like,
something. Who knows? Like Skylar said, when you got kids, you just
And you do that with the remote, and you know the battery dead, but you ain't
Yep.
trying to get up and try to go get
How many times y'all hit the remote?
You know
Yep.
the battery
How many
dead.
times y'all hit it? How many times y'all hit
Back
it?
to
See, y'all be
back
like,
up.
I'm done.
Nah,
You
how
take
many
the
times you
batteries
just
out.
You
take
put that
batteries
in the
out, replace
freezer.
them. You swap the
Yeah.
battery. You do everything.
They might have
They
put this
don't-
on like
They don't have the remote.
Don't work.
They
Right,
don't
he
have
doing
the
all the tricks.
They ain't got no nails, so don't
Keep
have the
blowing on
remote.
the
That'd be
battery.
hard to take the batteries out.
smacking it. Just,
Start
Yeah.
staring at
Hold
the
on,
battery.
And red as hell.
Real quick. I don't know.
right. Then next thing you know, the battery behind the couch and shit. Like,
Hold on, real quick. I don't know if it applies to everybody, but for those that have multiple remotes or whatever, how many times have you tried to use a remote and realized you was using the wrong remote for something?
Daily.
right.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day.
Mm-mm-mm.
Every single day.
Okay. All right.
I put them to my house. I couldn't keep track of my TV remotes. I was carrying both of them around, and I was using the one for upstairs and downstairs. And I'm like, man, these are not working. And then I'm like, man, I do not know which remote is for which TV.
Either way.
And don't let it be a Roku remote. Oh boy, you lose a Roku remote at minimum 5 times a day.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes.
So I saw something on
That
Twitter.
thing can control your whole house.
Fact.
Facts.
I saw somebody on Twitter had like a piece of cardboard and they take
Yep.
their remote to the cardboard so they won't never lose the joint.
And the thing about it is, I'm so lazy to do that. I'm too lazy to do that.
That's smart.
I don't understand why I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too lazy to do that.
I got one. I'm pretty sure I know the answer pretty much, but I just want to see our reaction to get y'all answer to it. Because we're a sports podcast, so we didn't bring up the fact that last weekend was All-Star weekend. So would you rather talk about it or not talk about it? Just answer.
Not talking about it.
Not talking about it.
I'm to a point now that like when the All-Star game happens, like if it comes and goes, I'm like, I'm not pissed about it. Like I know when I was younger, I'm like, bro, the All-Star week, like we used to plan around each other. We used to pull up at each other's house, like we pulling up, we watching everything from Friday to Sunday. Now it's like, I mean, I missed it.
As a
I just catch
basketball
YouTube.
fan and the guy who had got the tag league pass Trevor, I feel like years of my life was taken away by watching this All-Star weekend. I literally could have done something else instead of watch All-Star weekend.
Yeah, I live in Cleveland. I literally feel like I went to the best event was the HBCU basketball game. It was the first time they did it, and Keeper she did her thing. So that was one of the best moments there for real of the week. But the game was good. The HBCU game was better than the All-Star game. It came down to the last 30 seconds. Howard ended up coming back.
In the show.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, Ryan, you control it. In the show.
Yeah, we about to cut off Ron's weekly subscription to the Let's Be Real podcast.
in the show.
Man. All right, man. Great show, man. Appreciate you coming on, Austen. Got the sponsorship, man. Be sure to check out refbrand.com.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all wearing the gear too. Yep, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get y'all brothers some hats.
I need to
yeah, of course. We got you. I got you, man.
And took dipped out, but next month is March, and it's Women's History Month. So we'll try having women guests on every week. So stay tuned for all Let's Be Real media for that content. And I guess Took is sneaking back in, but hold on, let's bring it back in. You got one? You got anything left? We about to end, literally.
I'm good, bro.
All right, cool. All right, till next time. Peace.